Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, Football Talk. And today, your boy will be reacting to former MVP candidate to NFL nightmare, the impossible decline of Deshaun Watson. Now, back in Deshaun Watson heyday with the Texans, I don't know if I was even doing reactions at that time. I don't think I was. That was what 2019, 2018, somewhere around there, right? Pre you guys know what happened 2020. But I was a huge Deshaun Watson fan from the Clemson days. I remember watching the I didn't watch the first loss to Alabama, but I did watch the second one when Clemson finally was able to slay the giant, as you can say. Um, and I kind of followed him into his Texans career. Him and D Hop, if you guys remember, man, they had what was it, a 10 plus lead against the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs made a comeback. But man, oh man, this intro is already probably gonna be longer than I was expecting. I'm ready to hop into this. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Okay, so look, I'm just going to be honest with you 100%. I have never had less fun doing research for any singular video than for this one. To put it simply, for all the jokes made about Deshaun Watson, haha, funny
Who
Bill Cosby
made
guy,
this?
this shit is dark. But for the sake of this video, if you'll join me, I want to ask the question how we got to this point. Why would such a seemingly promising young man, considered a great guy, that was an inspiration for kids everywhere, throw everything away?
Wait a minute.
Allegedly. But even if you want to play devil's advocate and pretend
What
all
is
of those
this?
text laws.
Ah, let me read just a little bit, cause I want to read it out loud and it be some crazy ass shit. You know what I mean? Okay. Don't look like it looks crazy. It probably is crazy, but it's not like you know what I mean. All right, so let's read. I know. That's crazy. I told you I stopped working with him. Yeah, why? Because I was hearing too much stuff about him messing with other people, like other therapists, and I'm not going to even try to attempt that. He been doing a lot the last 3 to 4 months. And I even told his ass he needed to be careful because his name getting around. I just hope don't nobody call me to question me. Oh, okay. I need context. What? Nah, that 3 to 4. God damn. Bruh. Justin Tucker gonna be up here soon.
Dogs aren't real. There is no arguing that Deshaun Watson's golden boy reputation is now ruined forever. And hopefully, we can
It's
all
crazy to
figure out
think
what
about it
makes
was
this kid,
ruined before he
turn as a
became a
person to
Brown.
the point where right now he seems so unbelievably different from his past self and he may never play football again. But also, this is still a football video, so with something this dark, we gotta fire up the giggle machine and just laugh at Deshaun Watson.
That
And
Tom Brady
actually, this
poster
was the perfect
always
read.
gets
It's
me.
a terrible, terrible decision. So, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's do it. I just know way too much about Deshaun Watson right now. So let me tell you for 30 minutes everything that's gone on in this man's life. And without further ado, let's begin. So, if you know what Deshaun Watson will later do in the context of this video, you
I
already know
don't
that he
hate
was a dog.
anybody
And
per
rightfully
se,
so.
but
Allegedly. Still gotta say that. But for the first part of this video, it might be interesting to sort of pretend you don't know what will eventually happen. I don't know, just a thought. Because at the very least, at one point, he was just another kid. At Gainesville High School, he was already one of the most well known high schoolers in the country after he threw a 60-yard touchdown pass on his
what?
first competitive football throw in six
On his
years.
first
It
thought?
seemed like he was destined to play quarterback. And like I said, in high school, he was goated, but I'm not too interested in his early football career. He was amazing. He was a top prospect, He did make the NFL, as you know, and instead, I want to focus more on his character at this time. And in high school, He seemed like a great kid. From everything I can find and read through interviews,
Yeah,
articles, newspaper
Sean was
clippings,
one of those
everything,
like
Deshaun
model
Watson had a chance to grasp what so many
citizens.
kids across the world dream about. He grew up in poverty without a father,
Shout out to his
unfortunately
mother
relying
love.
on his mom. And in those interviews and stuff I looked at, a young Deshaun made it clear that his mother was his pillar in life. He credits a large amount of his determination and amazing work ethic because of his mom, as she had to work day and night just to be able to keep the lights on for him and his family. He was just a guy you want to root for, you know? He talked a lot about his faith and he continued overcoming the odds, even with his mom being diagnosed with stage 5 tongue cancer. So, with all this pressure of potentially losing his main source
Yep,
of
I
stability in life
unfortunately
because of
know
kidney
that
disease,
feeling.
he still responded. He won a state championship in high school and committed to play football at Clemson in college. And everybody at Clemson seemed to love the guy too. But for a while, Deshaun was such a rare prospect that colleges even kept trying to sway him to not go to Clemson. But
Won't
after
won't
some
take no for an answer.
poorly aged headlines years later, Jesus Christ, I can't even say the words.
Wow, the
Deshaun
foreshadowing.
Watson
Oh my,
was a Clemson Tiger. But above all
yo, that's
things, Dabo
crazy.
Sweeney and company believed in Deshaun Watson as a football player and a man. And how could they not? All they saw was people vouching for him, and by seeing all the work he put in and all he overcame just to even earn a scholarship is something to fucking respect. Even the Clemson quarterback there already, Taj Boyd, said, "The guy is like a little brother to me. He's a great kid, humble, smart, and he's going to become a great person at the school." And once again, there was no reason for that to not happen. He had a rough life, but he was surrounded by good people who helped him all the way. So then, we get into his college years.
Yes,
He went from
sir.
being
To
a
Renfro.
borderline top NFL prospect ahead of the 2017
Oh, probably
NFL
should.
draft. But
Never mind. Sorry.
throughout his time in college, he was still squeaky clean. Now, let's slow down for a second, though, and discuss the ego. Listen, even though Deshaun
Who
was
remembers
talented,
this?
there's no arguing that at the age of
The
21,
quarterback
going
camp.
into the NFL draft, he was still a relatively hardworking, quiet guy, but I don't care who you are or how humble you are. Young
Yeah,
people are still young
I
and
mean everybody has an
susceptible
ego
to
to a
an
certain
ego
extent.
boost. And when Deshaun Watson got handed a scholarship offer from Clemson before his sophomore year of high school, I don't have any first-hand accounts of what actually happened, but there's no way the mother
I mean, who
didn't
wouldn't?
walk
Let's be
around feeling
honest.
like that guy on campus. But
Okay.
before we continue, I want to show you how you can bet the main money line in all 50 states for the Super Bowl with this video sponsor, Kalshi. And they really have a lot to offer. And for the second pick in the draft, in a way, only Deshaun Watson could.
We're gonna start today. I'm just gonna do some stuff with just some breathing.
Oh boy. I don't know. It's just like the pieces for Deshaun Watson's downfall were always there. It was just hard to put it all together in the
That's how it
beginning.
always
During the
happens.
2017 NFL draft, Deshaun Watson was projected to go anywhere, honestly. Nobody had any real idea. The Cardinals,
Damn,
Saints,
imagine if you
Bills.
went with
Who
Buffalo.
knew what could happen? When the big Roger comes out and wants some love from the big boys, all cards are in play. So on draft day, none other than
Yo,
the
this
Cleveland Browns
foreshadowing is
traded
fucking
down with the pick
crazy.
at
Oh
6
my.
and allowed
It's like we
Houston to
are
select
really living in
Deshaun
in
Watson.
simulation.
Fate is weird sometimes, isn't it? Now,
Oh,
at the
Undisputed.
time,
I
Deshaun
used to
Watson
watch
was a
this every
polarizing
morning.
player. Once again, zero off the field issues whatsoever, but some thought his arm strength wasn't good enough and he couldn't translate to the NFL level perfectly
Damn,
well. Some
Tim.
thought he was
How
a
much jail you put
one-dimensional
on?
player, and the Chiefs were fucking goobers for even thinking about taking some guy named Levon. With Dabo Sweeney even saying, if you don't take Deshaun Watson, it's like you're passing up on Michael Jordan, who could dribble a basketball pretty well if you didn't know.
I
And
respect the hell out of
everyone
Dabo, but some
was on
things that he
board for
say.
Deshaun Watson. Everyone felt good for the kid. I mean, how can you not get emotional seeing him open up a letter from
Yeah, I
his mom
remember
on draft
this.
day? It was
Very emotional
heartbreaking.
moment right there.
The struggle, the dedication, waking up at 4 a.m. for a film session every day. This shit is something to admire. You don't get that
You
too
gotta
often.
have
So
the work
Watson
ethic
and
and you gotta have the
now all that
talent
was left was to just keep being this version of Deshaun Watson. And the
to be
Texans were not
successful,
a
that is.
bad team to go into, honestly. Bill O'Brien, the head coach, had a history of working with and developing quarterbacks like future Hall of Famer Brock Osweiler and
Yo, I
Peyton
didn't even
Manning.
realize what
And
he had
then
just
they brought
said till
back
he
great
just said
Dalvin
that.
Cook. Now, Deshaun Watson wasn't supposed to play right away, which was
Who?
good, as Tom Savage got the start to begin the season after admittedly
Love the last
overreacting to
name.
Deshaun Watson too. which had some people panicking. But my fucking sweet mother of Neptune, Tom Savage, sucked dick so sloppy.
After one
After
half?
one half. And from there, Deshaun Watson took over and began to dominate.
Watson steps and throws to the end zone. Hauled in by Griffin. Touchdown.
Deshaun
Really, against my Patriots, you had to show that.
inspirational. It took him some time to heat up, but already it appears
Saw a good Tom
the Texans
Brady
found
look, though.
themselves not only a franchise quarterback, but the best quarterback they've ever had in their franchise history. As a rookie against the New England Patriots dynasty in New England, he came into that game as his second start ever versus a Patriots team that, under Belichick, had never lost to a rookie quarterback at home and played a flawless game. It took a
Yeah, that's that
to
goat.
steal this one, and Watson just had made significant improvement from just the preseason.
I do remember this game, though.
Well, expected.
Vaguely, like
People
little
how
glimpse of
average
it.
this guy's work ethic was. This wasn't shocking at all, and he only kept going. Prime time versus the undefeated Chiefs.
Damn!
Everyone watching with Mahomes on the
Five
Deshaun Watson
touchdowns,
played another
261
perfect
for
game.
5
260
TDs.
yards and 5 touchdowns, but they still lost. And after another incredible 400 yards and 4 touchdowns versus the Seahawks, it was all taken from his season came to an end
What?
as he tore his
I do not
ACL in
remember
practice,
this.
and he did battle injuries in college, which was a bit of a concern. And now Texans fans were left praying that this quarterback of the future could recover fully. But in the meantime, Watson kept grinding. In the moment, getting the news that Deshaun Watson tore his ACL in practice was, to me,
Let
one
me
of
show
those
some
moments where I
recording.
remember exactly where I was. I was being driven home back from school, and I remember the exact turn we were even taking when I learned of the news. I wasn't even a Texans fan, but I was still devastated because I was a fan of Watson's game. He was just fun to watch, and it also helped that he was a great guy, too. See,
Unless you are a
he established
masseuse.
a scholarship program to help students from Gainesville. He gave his first
Oh,
ever NFL game check to
wow.
cafeteria women who worked for the Texans and were affected by Hurricane Harvey. And he made it clear that anything they need, he's got them. He's got the money to help, so why wouldn't he? But it all comes back to the same thing. Deshaun Watson dominated high school. He dominated college, and now he was dominating the NFL when he was out there. He was on top of the world. One of the
Facts.
most famous humans on the planet.
You couldn't go
And
nowhere without
as
seeing
things
a
behind the
Ford
scenes, his
jersey.
ego just kept on building.
Even here in
For
North
some
Carolina, it
people,
was
this
a
might have improved his
lot of
ego.
people with the
He
Ford
championed
jerseys,
himself a
with
little
the
bit, but
Houston
on
Ford
the field,
jerseys.
Watson was still Watson. And after a 4-win season with J.J. Watt getting injured as well, the 2018 Texans bounced back, and Watson, Watt, and DeAndre Hopkins spearheaded this Texans team and made them a force in the AFC. After a rather unlucky start, all things considered, where the Texans started out 0-3, they proceeded to win 9 games straight. And this
Wasn't.
was mainly due to Deshaun Watson
God
being a monster.
damn!
His connection with DeAndre Hopkins was also becoming arguably top 5 in the NFL. Hopkins had 105 catchable passes
I
going
mean
his
that,
way,
but
and
that's his
Saquon
D
caught a
Hop.
single one. That's just a Hall of Fame talent right there.
D
That's
Hop in
the
his
whole
prime.
bubble. And DeAndre Hopkins had
It's a lot of
1,500
people I
yards
put
and
him ahead.
pro team. And this was debatably the worst offensive line in football as well. Deshaun Watson, if you can remember, was a mobile quarterback. He made his plays on the move, and still, behind a garbage offensive line, he was
60,
sacked the most in the entire NFL.
62.
Still managed to get Houston to the wild card, where they were promptly blown out in Andrew Luck's last playoff game.
2019 was the one when they beat the Bills,
The
right?
same for Deshaun
This was when
Watson.
Kansas City
They
came
had a
back on, right?
stinker versus the Saints in week 1 in a narrow loss, and then lost a game to Kyle Allen and the Panthers, to which Deshaun Watson took it to heart.
Pause.
He felt he failed the team as a leader and a player, making it his mission from now on to be the best possible version of himself for the next game. And that's exactly what he was. Versus the Falcons, he played the best football game he's ever played in his life. He went 28 for 33, 426 yards, and 5 touchdowns. And then 1 week later, the Texans took care of the Super Bowl favorite Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, establishing themselves as contenders. And Deshaun Watson's legend was beginning to write itself in Houston at this point. There still wasn't any controversies. Everything was chill. He was doing charity and all that good stuff. And he also continued to try and gain wisdom to improve his character.
Rest in peace, Kobe and the rest of those passengers.
In the locker room. Oh, don't worry, brother. Trust me, you will. So this
I gotta stop talking.
brought the Texans into the playoffs again. Deshaun was amazing. He He was a no questions asked top 10 quarterback with some admittedly boring plays under his belt. I mean, who cares about shit like this? But in the wild card, the Texans and Watson turned up, beat the Bills, and now Houston was facing
One of the
Patrick
greatest
Mahomes and the
like
Kansas City
escapes
Chiefs. Ugh,
I've ever
listen,
seen live
at this point,
against the
Mahomes
Bills.
and Watson's careers were pretty connected from the very beginning. These two guys were compared to each other then and now.
Damn.
And the NFL also at this point began to market them as the league's next
Didn't
greatest
realize
quarterback
they
duo.
was this close.
Mahomes versus Watson. Who would be up next? And well, you probably know how this game went already. The
Damn, it
Texans
was
jumped out to an
24-0.
unspeakable 24-0 lead. They were literally demolishing the Chiefs, but this era of
Facts.
Kansas City's offense could drop 50 in a singular quarter, and they did. Bill O'Brien goofed, Mahomes Mahomed, and the Chiefs buried the Texans with a 51 bomb, as Deshaun Watson simply wasn't as good as Patrick Mahomes, which isn't a crime, but we'll get to that in a second.
The start of that sunshine double. The BNP Paribas Open. Welcome to the Miami Open.
Why that mean?
Sadly, we found ourselves in the point of Deshaun Watson's career where it was clear that the Texans were Deshaun Watson and nobody else. Around this time, Bill O'Brien decided to time his midlife crisis and cognitive breakdown to the point where he began huffing nos on the job at the same time as
He
becoming
was
the
just
coach and
God
general manager of the
damn.
Texans, which resulted
Imagine being the head coach and the general
the
manager.
Texans traded away DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson and 4 tacos. Houston did eventually fire Bill O'Brien, but the damage was already done, and Deshaun Watson was set to remain the guy for the Texans. He continued being a pillar in the community. He founded a restaurant and was rewarded with a 4-year, $160 million deal, making him the second highest paid player in the NFL, behind, of course, Mahomes. So, yeah. 2020 was just Watson literally doing his thing with Brandon Cooks, and that's
Man, they was 4-12 2020.
yards, which was cool, but a lot of people said that this was just empty stats, as the team only won 4 games, and Deshaun Watson's biggest accomplishment on the entire season was beating the Lions, which led to Matt Patricia getting fired, and Detroit fans ended up donating a ton of money to Deshaun's charity for contributing to their happiness.
Swears
So
and
they were able
sandwiches.
to hear
What?
and look, he even released a book during this time and said a lot of inspiring, beautiful
Okay.
words, like
What?
I want to be able to.
Yeah, he wouldn't touch people, alright.
We're just gonna skip past that one. It was just a tough year and time to be a Texans fan. The front office couldn't be trusted. The talent was looking bleak. It was just Deshaun Watson. It was all the people of Houston had. Hell, even J.J. Watt, the best player in Texans history, knew himself that he had one foot out the door and told Watson that, well, he's sorry. Sorry that Houston wasted the year of a player of his caliber. So,
Wait, what?
Houston, the people that have been there for him and supported him, Deshaun Watson felt as if the front office and people running the Texans organization now were not people he wanted to work under and grow with. And on January 28th, 2021, Deshaun Watson, the franchise MVP level quarterback of the Houston Texans,
Have the Texans ever had like another MVP type quarterback like before Deshaun?
In the divisional round versus the Chiefs, and ended with Deshaun Watson choosing to leave the city of Houston forever. Now, this video is a tale of 2 stories, or honestly, rather 2 people. Everything pre-2020 Deshaun Watson is damn near a different man. This is a guy
He
who
won the
started
grind,
with
alright.
the grind to be a better player, to be hopefully a better person, but everything from here on out is a completely different thing. And you know, you knew what you were getting into when you clicked on this video, obviously, so there's no way to sugarcoat this. This is about to get dark, so let's just...
Don't turn the lights off when you with Deshaun.
The worst case of anything like this in recent NFL history, and the fall of a man. So, alright, seriously though, if you don't want to hear a lot of the heinous crimes that this man allegedly did, I don't blame you, because in a few minutes I'm going to read off a lot of sick shit, so you've been warned. But after he requested the trade, the Texans kind of just said, well, that's cool and all, but I don't give a singular fuck. You're under contract, so you ain't leaving because you're pretty good at football. And the Texans had no plans on getting rid of him. But then on March 16th, 2021, the NFL world was hit with a bombshell when Deshaun Watson was accused by a singular massage therapist of sexual misconduct, with 20 more
I've
women
never
following suit in the next
seen
week,
so
and
many people come out at
many,
one
many,
time
many more women
like this.
this was another moment where you kind of remembered where you were when you got the news. I mean, I remember the Ray Rice thing. I
Yeah, this
remember
one
the
was it.
Greg Hardy thing, but this one was
Yeah, it was
mind
like
blowing.
what?
Deshaun Watson? Really? There's no way. And
Deshaun?
despite everything we've
Like the
talked
first
about,
one,
they've made
alright.
it very clear
But
that
then
Deshaun
it's
Watson
20, it's
was
30,
the
it's
guy.
40. It's like, okay.
There was no other reason to think otherwise. Now, I don't know the guy, so maybe it was all propaganda all along, and everyone was just saying this about Deshaun, but I do believe there was something to do with his ego ballooning to a dangerous level behind the mask he put on for the public. But regardless of the reason, the city of Houston felt betrayed. This was a guy they were
Of
invested
course,
in as a
Reddit.
player and maybe as a person as well. And he was potentially a terrible, terrible person under it all. So now what? Do the Texans trade him? Will he get suspended? Will that tank his value completely? Are they going to have to cut him? I
Damn,
mean,
the
what do
Broncos and
you
the
do in a
Panthers.
situation like this? Maybe all these allegations were false too. Who knows? All
I'm
said
glad
and
he ain't go with Panthers.
regardless,
You know,
Deshaun Watson's reputation
Charlotte a
will
little bit
just
too
go down
close to
forever, and
comfort.
he sat out the entire 2021 season on the NFL's non-injury designation list. And prior to the 2022 season, we got all the details on the Deshaun Watson case and all the allegations that were brought up. So once again, you have been warned, because I'm about to get into all the things he allegedly did and was accused of. I also just want to make it clear that I'm not going over what I'm about to go over just to be funny, because these are still real people. Once again, like I said, that were hurt. And it just,
It's so
I don't know, it
unfortunate,
makes it all
man.
the more
Like
shocking to actually talk about this, that
I I
someone like
can't
Deshaun
stand
Watson,
seeing
one of the
this.
strong women pillars in his life, could morally degrade so much. So where do I even start here? Deshaun Watson decided to use his influence as a famous quarterback to seek out women in the local massage therapy industry that were relatively untrained and new to the business and could have possibly been unaware of the professional boundaries set in this type of work. Absolutely fucking awful stuff, and would routinely book sessions with women
Yeah,
who weren't
God,
experienced on purpose
bro.
in order to take advantage of the situation. Once again, I can't stress this enough. I'm sorry, y'all, but this needs to be common knowledge. The legal documents in this case state that Deshaun Watson did the following. He, quote, asked a plaintiff to go deeper into his buttocks while engaging in a massage. He groped another woman before suddenly leaving without paying full price because she
What?
hadn't given him what he wanted. He demonstrated aggressive behavior after pressuring a girl to massage his
Oh my
buttocks and
God.
told her,
Like I heard the surface level of this. Okay. Then look into this. I just heard about it and I seen videos on like the surface level. I did not know about this in particular. Oh, I thought I was prepared because I'm thinking it's gonna be the stuff I know, like the surface level. This is just, bro, like this. I don't even know what to say. Let's try to get through this. All right, guys, together. I'm sorry.
quote, I, I can't do this, guys. I can't. Let me start over. He told her, quote, get in there, and demanded the woman put her fingers in his. All right. Took a little 5 minute break, walked around, went outside, touched grass. But this next part is the excerpt that really got to me the most, and why, even in the beginning, I took that whole ego stance for Deshaun Watson's situation. A document stated that a girl agreed to meet with Deshaun Watson at a spa, and the two would mostly be alone. He wanted that to be important, and she recognized him when they arrived, but never proceeded with things. And Deshaun Watson said, allegedly, and I quote, he had never been rejected by a woman before. I'm sorry, dude. If that doesn't
I don't know if I can
scream,
do this
I
shit.
have a massive ego problem. I don't know what the hell
This is way worse. This is way worse than I knew. Get him off my screen, bro.
does. That is the words of a truly sick man. And I could keep going too. I'm sure you know as well, besides his love for butt stuff, I guess, he allegedly attempted to force multiple women to give him
Oh
oral sex.
fuck,
He
man.
exposed his penis so many times in this one document alone that I honestly lost count. And do you know what else? The craziest thing about this entire story, the wildest fucking thing I discovered that just says so much about power dynamics in general. I'll never understand why some people's brains just
Me either.
operate in this sick, twisted way, but he had a girlfriend,
What?
and he still has one. The
I
man
know who
stayed
this
by his
is. Wasn't she a YouTuber?
and has
I used to
been
be like with DDG, and them.
for years. Guys, what the fuck is happening? Why is this my job? And I did more research on this, and this led to me discovering this. This fucking article might be the wildest read I've ever had in my entire 21 years on this godforsaken planet. Like, what do you mean they stuck together through thick and thin?
What?
She stayed by his side through the hard times. Brother, he allegedly sexually assaulted fucking 66 people. That is not something you just talk through in a relationship and heal from. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know, man. There's still hope. It is what I could say to try to spin this in a positive way for you guys. I don't know, dude. I feel like I just need a shower. I just don't know. This is like level 50 of
They're
infidelity.
still
He's
together.
still with her
What
right now to this
the fuck,
morning.
man?
Doing more digging, I think one of the victims says it best when talking about why Deshaun Watson, the quarterback of the future for Houston, a
Be these type of
multi-billionaire,
relationships, I'm telling you.
seemingly happy relationship with a gorgeous woman, would do this. She stated, why would he do that? He has no reason to do that. He has a beautiful girlfriend. He has this, and this. All of those things are true, but fame doesn't create character, but it can enable horrible actions and can even create a monster if
Let me
left
just pause right
unchecked.
quick for a
It just kept
second and
going too.
say something. When these things, when you see celebrities and they get exposed for doing things of this nature, I just want to let you guys know this if you do not know already. Most of the time, they was already doing this at like at a lower level, a level that nobody had talked about, nobody knew about, except for him, his girlfriend, and maybe a couple other people. But it was right here. It was so low and so under wraps. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew about it. But guess what? As he became got that more money, get into his head, now you're starting to see it unravel. Now he ain't thinking. He just doing it. Oh, I got away with it this time. I got away with it on Monday. Why won't I do it on Tuesday? Got away with it on Tuesday. Why won't I do it on Thursday? I got away and it just kept happening. Then when it finally came out, now on his side, everybody went back. Oh no, that's not his character. This and that. Shut up. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You don't do stuff like this, and it just happens. And so, in some type of form, it was already there. You just ain't open up the box. Like, people have to understand that. Like, when people do stuff like this, it's not an accident. It's not oh, it just happened because, no, he already had these things in his mind and he was already doing these things even before he had all that money. People wasn't paying attention to that. But now they're forced to pay attention. You're forced to hear about these things. It's just disgusting, man. Like, bro.
2022, Deshaun Watson's attorney said it's
You have a
possible he
fucking
had
girl.
a happy ending during a massage. What? Dog? Yes. Yes.
I was just about to say that.
That is
That's
that
exactly
is
what?
exactly what a crime is. What are you talking about? Why are you
You
defending
know,
him
Justin
now?
Tucker was in his DM like, "Hey man, I'm gonna support you. I got you, cuz."
NFL too. I don't understand. Okay, we're done. It's over. good old-fashioned Cleveland Browns shenanigans, because NFL teams across the board had a decision to make. In theory, on paper, a player like Deshaun Watson being available on the market was historically unprecedented. Never before had a
How much you
powerhouse
want to bet? I
superstar
bet you
quarterback
Houston
at
knew
age
about this.
26 been available. Now, obviously,
I
Houston
bet you
didn't
they.
want
I
to give
bet
him
you they
more than
found out and they was like, you know what? Just
very
give
much
them
a
away.
lot of teams, but two teams, two singular teams basically thought the risk was worth it. Among others, there were three
Of
teams.
course, the
The
Jets.
Jets and Browns stood out amongst the crowd and really wanted to bring in Deshaun Watson. Of
Obviously,
course, it was the Browns and Jets, bro. And this picture makes me really happy.
he
What
wouldn't
if
survive in
would
New
happen,
York
right? Would have been a great timeline.
with
Browns
these with
accidentally
these things
end
coming
up
out.
winning the Bill
Yeah,
Cosby
them New York
search,
people
and
would got him right.
March 18th, 2021, the
They
Cleveland
would got him
Browns
right.
gave up 1, 2, 3 first-round picks and
T-
more for
take
the
take him to the
services of
Bronx or Brooklyn.
Deshaun Watson. Destroyed mental and all. And immediately turned around to hand him to this point
I
two
forgot how
first. And I mean
two.
the absolute
Yeah,
best and most impactful contract in NFL history when they gave him a 5-year,
even for the Browns, this is
$230
like what the
million
fuck.
contract in fully guaranteed moolah. So let's just think about this from a business perspective, because I genuinely don't see how multiple NFL level officials came together and agreed that giving a man with a history like Deshaun Watson's
They was getting
$1
happy
billion
in this too.
let alone guaranteed
Sean was inviting them
$1,
over,
why
and they
he
was getting happy in this too.
carried
Watch.
uncertainty behind him and was even going to be suspended for the first 11 games of the 2022 season. But look, the NFL made him go to mandatory counseling, so surely that will solve all his problems and satiate his
I
demons. I just could
what?
never understand it. Nobody understood it in the moment. Everyone said that this trade was way too risky, and even if Deshaun Watson was just like an above average quarterback, this contract and trade
There are
would
so
solve
many people
every
out of the
concern.
NFL
But
for way less,
oh
and this
boy, was it more than just disappointing. And 2022 was a deserved trial of torment for Watson and the Browns. After 2 years away from the game, Deshaun Watson returned to action versus, once again, fate doing weird things here, against the Houston Texans. In Houston, the place where he managed to shatter and demolish all his connections and bridges to the ground. But the idea in the given contract to Deshaun was loading up on talent now and winning now. So it was imperative for Deshaun to be able to master Kevin Stefanski's offense right away. But his 2022 campaign was a disaster. He finished the season throwing for 180 yards a game, 1 pick, 1 touchdown, and a passer rating of 79. Jacoby Brissett was playing significantly better football than him that season, and the problems on the inside were just so much worse. Let me ask you this, because apparently this is just some wild concept for the Browns to grasp. What if you were, I don't know, in school or at work, and you're next to someone who was accused of sexual assault by 66 women? Would you want to just be all buddy-buddy with them and try to get to know them and chill with them? No, right? But I don't know. Shockingly, the NFL works in the same way, but the Browns couldn't understand that, because it turns out his teammates in Cleveland didn't really like him. I wonder why. And the culture was already suffering greatly as a result. As players would later reveal, it felt like Deshaun Watson was a dark cloud over this entire organization when he was playing, which kind of created an endless loop where nobody wanted to associate with Watson, which didn't contribute to reviving his confidence and mentality as a quarterback, all because of his own actions. He ruined his career because of what he willingly chose to do. Now, 2023 is what makes the Deshaun Watson move the worst in NFL history in my mind. The funny thing is, Deshaun Watson was damn near playing his best football in the limited time he did play, but Browns fans didn't even want to root for him either. Like, the players too, they didn't want to cheer for a guy like him. Why would they? So most people either chose to just stick by their own morals and
why
not
would we
celebrate him as a
celebrate
player,
him as
while
a
others
player? He's
ignored
not
his
even a player
actions
no
and
more.
chose to hold out hope that things were getting better. And after he played his best game of the season versus the Ravens, once again, not even doing that well, but for his standards, there was arguably a world where you could gaslight yourself into saying that he was returning to form, but he made some plays, and then Deshaun Watson suffered a season-ending shoulder injury, and the Browns season was seemingly over. Until 6 feet, 6 inches, 245 pounds, 8.4 inches of raw, unequated, testosterone fueled, man powered raw sex appeal stepped into the Cleveland Browns facility, and the Chad known as Joe Flacco revived the team. Now, it was reported that Deshaun Watson kind of stopped caring about
Wonder
running the
why.
Browns offense during this time. His work ethic that was once so prevalent had fallen off a cliff, and it was
Yeah,
showing. And it was
boy.
Joe Flacco who led the
Playoff
team
Joe
to another
Flacco
day and brought happiness and
is a
fun
Hall of
back
Fame
to the
career for a
Browns.
lot of
This is what it could have been with Cleveland, but
majority of
it never
quarterbacks.
could have been this way under
It's
Deshaun
crazy.
Watson. But under Joe Flacco, for just a few games, the Browns got a taste of what life could have been in the best timeline under their very own franchise quarterback in Baker Mayfield. So although the Flacco era didn't end well, I mean, he was an
Still
old
better
man, it
than
only ended the way it could have with Deshaun Watson
that other
playing
quarterback.
against the
I
Texans
don't
for the
want to say
playoffs
boy's
and
name. I
their
don't want to say his name
quarterback
no
in
more.
CJ Stroud. So, all right, this was it. Before the 2024 season, although all hope had already been completely lost and the Deshaun Watson trade and subsequent contract was already considered the worst in the history of sports, it somehow only kept going down. And for Deshaun, he had a rough offseason himself. He received a ton of death threats. He just lost his father and a friend. And more lawsuits just kept flowing in. So I'm assuming with all of that going on, as well as a potential lack of interest in improving, that was the perfect storm for one of the worst quarterbacking seasons we've seen in a long time. In week 1, he had a bottom 5 QB performance versus the bloody Cowboys. Dude was overthrowing everything. Horrible picks left and right, and was quite literally the reason the Browns lost the game. Then, he followed that up with a few more stinkers, failing to throw for even 200 yards one time all season. And then we got to week 7, where he tore his Achilles, and his season
Did he get
ended as
booed?
he cried being carted off the field. And I'll be honest here, this is why it's confusing and worth looking into in my mind. If it weren't for all the shit that he did, allegedly, the human element in me wants to feel for another human here, but I just can't. And Deshaun Watson left behind a 2024 season for the ages. In just 7 games in 2024, quarterbacking a team that just made the playoffs and still had a great defense, Deshaun Watson was clearly not even 1/4 of the same player he was in Houston. He didn't trust his coaches, his receivers, or himself anymore, and under his leadership, he led the Browns offense to the least yards per play out of any team in football, and the 3rd lowest mark by any Browns quarterback since they were quarterbacked by Doug Peterson in the dark years of this expansion team's life. Dude was being compared to Doug Peterson. A lot
I'm
of
gonna be
people
honest
didn't
with you.
even know he
I did
played
not
the
know that.
sport. And by year's end, his EPA was laughable. I mean, look at this. He was down there in a league of his own next to pre-buff Bryce Young and Tyler goddamn Huntley. His suck was so historically impressive, he had to be compared to other draft busts
And I
like
still
Zach
choose him
Wilson
over
and
him.
Jamarcus Russell. Except he wasn't a young bust. He was a multiple-time
They need to
Pro
take
Bowl
all them Pro
quarterback
Bowls,
and
all that,
former
take that away from him.
franchise guy. It's just so impressive.
Personally
This is
speaking,
an
in my
all-time level
opinion.
aggression on the field and off the field, and Deshaun Watson is truly a one of one. But because he's such a nice guy, he even gave the Browns hope. After the 2024 season, he re-ruptured his Achilles in the recovery process and will now miss
I
the
didn't even know you
entire
was still in the league.
2025 season as well, as the Browns will likely take a quarterback and will deal with a potential wild cap situation with Watson in the future if he doesn't just medically retire. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like this story did have to be told. I felt like I had to go over it, and I decided to take not really a full football perspective on this, but a human perspective, because what's wild about this Deshaun Watson thing is that you could still argue that he came out on top. He got $200 million or whatever the hell, and that's not even including his past contracts, and he now might not ever have to put his body in harm's way again. So take that for what you will. But also, I'll leave you with this quote by Warren Buffett, because I think it really applies to this situation more than any I've ever seen before. You can spend a whole lifetime working on yourself and being an honest and good person, but it takes 20 years to build a reputation, but only 5 minutes to destroy.
Great video by let me make sure I give credit. Tube Frog. Shout out to him. I have reacted to maybe like one or two other videos of his. Um, I will leave the link to the original video in the pinned comment of this one. It's a lot I got on my mind right now. I'm not gonna say it, just about him as a person. Like I said at the beginning, I was a fan of his until, situations like this, and then hearing and reading the stuff that was in this video, and then him having a girlfriend, she's sticking with him, and I would say why is she sticking with him, but they're perfect for each other for a reason. That's all I'm gonna say. Hopefully you guys like this. I don't see you guys in the next one.